Good morning, everybody. I'm Jordan, and I work for UCFB, which is the University Campus of Football Business. So at UCFB, we are a higher education institute, and we're based at two very unique locations. We're based at Wembley in London, with the Wembley Stadium being the heart of the campus there in the southeast. And we're also based at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester, which is home to, of course, the current Premier League champions, Manchester City. So we are based within football stadium, but also a wider sport facility as well. And we offer quite a range of different degree programs. So degree programs include the business side of the sports industry. So just to start before I carry on there, we have a wide range of different degree programs at UCFB. So there is a big focus on football, wider sport and events. And one of the areas I just mentioned, business, is one of the areas we focus on. So we have 3 degrees that focus on a array of different areas, as well as coaching, media. So if you want to go down the media side, we offer degrees such as sports broadcasting, sports journalism. We offer a football business and media degree. We offer coaching degrees, as I mentioned. So this could be a focus on football coaching or sports coaching. So any of you here want to be a football coach, whether it be in the grassroots, in the foundation phase, to being, I don't know, an elite coach, whether you want to have a focus on performance analysis, scouting, analytical work, so using software, data, understanding how all those work, interpreting that in terms of what's going on the pitch. Our degrees can lead to different specific areas of the football sector. So what the degrees highlight there, and in all our degrees, is essentially lots of different opportunities across the sector. And when we offer degrees in events management, so same events management degree at Wembley, we offer an esports degree now, which is a new area that is rapidly growing as well. So esports is definitely one of those new industries that have definitely accelerated during the pandemic, and we anticipate that industry to continue to grow all the way until 2025, probably up to around the value of it to around $3.5 billion. So at the moment it's currently worth around $2 billion, but we're expected to continue to grow. And obviously education in this area is definitely a focus for us. So the sort of 3 pillar streams from esports, we're looking at events, we're looking at digital marketing, and we're also looking at digital media. So those are 3 viable routes that you can go into. And we've got graduates that work in the sector, which is great. We've got law degree. So if you want to focus on sports law in particular, we have courses around those areas. So sports law, we've got sport agency, player agency. Maybe we want to be working soliciting work in sport, all the different pre-regulations and so forth, understanding how the legitimacy of sport is now upheld and maintained. We look at previous case studies of bad practice and good practice. So that's a really good degree if you want to focus on those areas. We've got physical education, sports psychology degree. We've got an array of different courses. And I think one of the things that you'll take away from any UCFB degree, I'm a graduate myself of the institution. I graduated 6 years ago now, is that it'll open your mindset to how big the industry actually is. And I'm going to just tap into sorts of the areas that, sort of some highlight figures, really, as it will, about the industry itself, and why maybe some of you, if you are considering sport, why you should definitely go into it. And 3 things, really. Number 1, it's one of the only economies that's continued to grow since 2008. The industry supports over 700,000 jobs in England, in the UK alone. That's the largest in Europe. So, for example, for every job post that is posted online in Europe, 1 in 4 of those are based in the UK. So it shows how big the sports sector actually is. And another big one is, the final one, is about the employability side of things. To go on to further careers in the industry, is the relative the sectors itself, what they're looking for now. So at the moment, currently, there's probably around 40% of people have completed tertiary education who work in the sports industry. Now, tertiary education is higher education, university level, and that's what we offer at UCFB. So there's more and more people and more sports employers that are looking for people going into the industry who have got a sports degree. So it's really, really important that you are doing additional things on top, as well as the work experience that will help you to go into the sector once you finish. And it's a very exciting industry. It's worth around £500 billion. The industry, it's absolutely massive, and 5% of that is in the UK. So you've got to think of the other 95% as well. And we have some great links, not just with domestic providers in sport, whether it be the Premier League, the EFL, National League, other sporting bodies that we work with, and provide students opportunities with. We also work in other markets like the USA, Canada, Australia. We have global study hubs. So there's a chance for you to go abroad as part of your degree to like networking events to learn more about those industries. So just to give you an idea, we're linked with Inter Miami, who some of you may know is David Beckham's MLS franchise in football, down in Florida. So we have a master's campus there, but as a UG student, which is undergraduate level, which would be for some of you in a few years' time after post-16, you might be considering, you'll have an opportunity to go and visit into Miami and learn more about that industry and how the US market operates. And we've got links in New York, in Atlanta, Toronto, with clubs like Toronto FC, the Raptors, and the NBA. So we do have some great links across the sector. And what I'm trying to sort of come back to here is that 95% of it is outside the UK. So we're actively speaking and working with partners across the globe to offer you guys experiences in the sector if you were to consider studying at UCFB and doing a sports degree. And we know from the sports employers perspective how important it is to have those links, in terms of the fact that students now, what they need when they graduate from a degree, they don't just need a piece of paper with a qualification on it. They also need, on top of that, work experience, applied practice. So how is your degree relevant to where you want to go? Have you applied what's in your degree? And a lot of our students do that. And we have a dedicated employability and career planning team. So what our university does, what UCFB does, is help support students with cover letters, CV letters, job application roles. We have a dedicated career service to support with that, to get all of that up to industry standard. We've got lots of partners that we work with, as I mentioned, so we have a lot of work placements. So every week, students will receive emails on bulletin boards, etc., slides on presentations about the upcoming roles that we have available in different clubs and organisations. So students are always kept up to date with the most recent placement opportunities. So students have got, throughout their 3 or 4 years of study with us, opportunities to gain experience within the sector. So whether that's a business placement, a coaching placement, it could be media, marketing, it could be events-based, law-based, teaching-based. We have a lot of different roles available at different clubs and organisations across the UK, but also abroad as well. So what we know is that as long as students are getting involved with that side of things alongside their degree, obviously balancing it well, it will give them the best opportunity moving forward to then go and work in their dream job at the end. And the stats back it up. Around 90% of our graduates are now working within 6 months or further education. That's expected amongst many institutes. But the big one for us is about the sports employability. Now, around 2/3 of our students who have graduated now are working in the sports sector, and that is really important because the national average, which there was a stat released about 6 months ago, it keeps getting released every 6 months, and the Guardian actually mentioned about sports leavers from universities going to sports roles, and the national average of students leaving with a degree, particularly around sport and going into a sports role, employability is around 1/3. So obviously it can be different at different universities, but the national average is 1/3. So we're doubling that national statistic. Okay, so you're twice as likely on average to go into sport if you come to UCFB, and that is thanks to the relevance of the degree. That's thanks to obviously what students are doing in terms of putting themselves forward, because that's what the sports industry is about. It's not just about your coming into class and doing your lectures and seminars. It's also about getting involved and applying yourself as well, and that's something that you'll learn. I know you guys are in year 10 at the moment, but you will learn about the importance of work experience, and your tutors will talk about that, the importance of getting involved with things and volunteering or doing work as part-time role maybe when you get to post-16 level. But we keep hammering the same approach as well, because we know from what sports employers are saying is that that's what they want. They want people to hit the ground running as soon as they come in. So obviously getting that experience whilst you're doing a degree is really, really important. And sort of my role at UCFB, what I've just spoken about for the last 10 minutes or so, is basically I go into schools and colleges on a regular basis. I talk about the opportunities that are available to you guys. In terms of, I've just briefly talked about it there, about our degrees, what we offer, placement opportunities, guest speakers from industry. So we're bringing a lot of specialist guests from the sector. So we've had like Alan Shearer come in, David Moyes, Sam Allardyce. We've had event managers, directors of BBC Sport, on ITV, Sky, BT Sport. We have specialists that come in and speak to you guys and network with you, and even sometimes, even in the coaching degrees, come and do sessions with our students, get hands-on and involved with what we do, and a chance for you to actually speak to them, ask them questions, how they got into the industry themselves. So we bring in these people, and what I do is highlight these opportunities to students, like in year 10, year 11, post 16 level, for those who are interested generally in going into football and sport. Now, when I was 16, 17, I'll come across UCFB. Luckily, it had just started, but I always wanted to go into the football and sports sector, and it is exciting. I love talking about it. I'm a big Arsenal fan. I normally get a few laughs when I'm in the classroom when I say I'm an Arsenal fan, because I know that our record isn't so good at the moment, but we hopefully are on the way up. I know it's a bit of a rocky ship in January, but we're getting there. But I love talking about it. I like seeing what the opportunities are. It's a fast-paced industry. There's lots going on. There's always something new to talk about, and it's always a good thing to have. And it's always like a good little conversation tool as well when you're talking about just in general sport. And I feel like that's why a lot of people get involved with it as well. And as a result of that, what's going on the pitch is supporting hundreds of thousands of roles across the country and also across the globe as well. Millions of people work in this great football and sports sector. So that's just a bit about UCFB. And like I said, my role is here to just obviously to answer any questions today. And I'm more than, and obviously the tutors at Kingsby Green have got my details. So if you do have any questions after today that you don't ask, please feel free to get in touch with UCFB. And also as well, we do have open days at UCFB. So if any of you after year 11 are considering maybe still wanting to go into sport and football, and you've heard this talk today and you can remember it in 2 years' time and go, oh, I remember there was an institution called UCFB, I think, who do something around sport and football. Or let's go and have a look at that. So you are allowed to come and visit our facilities. So we have open days every month. So it's a chance for you to learn more about the programs that you might be interested in. So yeah, that's just a bit of a general overview of what we offer at UCFB. Thank you very much for listening. I'm more than happy to take questions now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting.
What qualifications do you need to get into the university course?
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, really good question. So in terms of qualifications, we're looking for level 3 equivalent. So that could be A levels, that could be BTEC qualifications at post 16 level, and the entry requirements are 96 to 112 UCAS points. So that doesn't probably mean a lot to you at the moment. What does 96 to 112 UCAS points actually mean? But basically, when you go into post 16 and you're at college or sixth form and you decide to do A levels or BTECs, whatever you achieve in those A levels or BTECs, they equate, and whatever you achieve equate to points. So normally when we say 96 UCAS points for one of our courses, that's equivalent to 3 Cs A level, or it's if you're doing BTEC level 3 extended diploma in sport, for example. So some of you might be considering that in a few years' time. That we will be looking at 3 merits to a distinction merit, and that's worth distinction merit is worth 112 UCAS points, and 2 Bs and a C is worth 112. So that's what we expect. So anything that's equivalent to level 3, so you don't have to specifically do a sports BTEC or PE A level or business A level. What we always encourage students to do, if they're not quite sure what they want to do at post 16 level, is just do something you enjoy. So if there's something you enjoy GCSE level currently and you want to continue doing that, please feel free to do that, because we do get a lot of students when they get to 17, 18 and they're making their choices, they kind of have a change of heart of what they really want to do, and they might come back to us at a later date. So yeah, just decide what you want to do and enjoy it. And obviously, like I said, to get on our courses, you're looking at level 3 equivalent qualifications, as I've mentioned beforehand.
Perfect. Is there like any qualification you particularly look at, like is that English literature or something, or is it just the 3 Cs? Or we
look at the 3 Cs. I know that for our football coaching degrees, which I did forget to mention about, we do ask for an extra prerequisite, which is the football coaching badges. So the introduction to football coaching qualification, we do specifically ask to have completed beforehand for those degrees, because there's just the lingo and understanding the coaching side of things that our coaches want for students before they join. But yeah, in terms of the Cs at A level, we don't specifically have to say English literature for one of our media courses, for example.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next question.
What salary can I expect to get working for you?
So salaries.
Salaries, yeah, it's always one that's asked. I mean, you can imagine like for example, a Pep Guardiola that's on 16 million a year at Manchester City Football Club. Obviously, that's big money and stuff like that. But then you're probably thinking, what can like a community coach at a football club earn? So, just for my own knowledge, I know that I've known starting grads who may have worked at say Blackpool FC as a community coach, and they can start from 25,000 a year. So you're looking probably in line with the average of graduate starting salaries. Is probably what you'd be starting with. So I think the average is around 24,000. The sports industry is around the same. It can obviously vary depending on what you're doing, but obviously naturally as you go up the sort of the tree in football or in sport in general, naturally obviously salaries become higher, responsibility becomes greater. But so as a starting block, what you'll find is when you come to UCFB, there will be a lot of voluntary roles in sport, because that's what the sports industry sort of take on for work experience opportunities. But obviously as you get your foot in the door in a full-time role, you'll start to see what the salaries are. But just in terms of like salaries, you're looking probably sort of like around the average for graduate roles in general.
Thank you very much.
How often do you have to travel if you're working for the company?
Because we saw on the website, I was thinking about travelling and between campuses, like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't worry about travelling between Wembley and Etihad. We don't expect any students to do that. So you do get a choice on a lot of the courses, which campus you prefer to study at, because there is a flexibility. Now, we do have accommodation at both of our campuses at UCFB. So if you guys are based Swindon way, aren't you? So in terms of if you're looking to study with us, I'd probably recommend accommodations. So we have Arch View House at Wembley, which is about a minute walk away from the stadium. And then in terms of the other facilities that we have, like the Hive, you're talking around 10-15 minutes away, because we are a city campus university layout. So what we mean by that is, instead of being a campus where everything's in one facility, we have multiple facility buildings that we use across a certain radius, but everything is within 10 to 15 minute radius of say your halls at Wembley, and the same with the Etihad as well. So in terms of like links and stuff like buses and stuff, you're talking 10-15 minutes, trams, underground. So I think the furthest you'd have to travel is in total. So if you do a tram and then a walk to somewhere, you're looking at 10-15 minutes. So everything is in close proximity. And like I said, if you are looking to study at UCFB, we do have accommodation for those who obviously live further afield. So sort of my remit is the Midlands. I look after students in the Midlands who are interested in what we offer at UCFB. So I have this conversation a lot with students, and I was like I said, I'm a graduate myself. There is accommodation available for those students if they wish to stay on site as part of their degree.
Nice. Is accommodation affordable?
Yes, I would say it is. It just depends upon, obviously, in terms of, I mean, the London pricing is really, really good. It's really competitive. So our London pricing is, I'll be honest, the Manchester one, if you look at it, it looks quite high. But in terms of the sort of your student finance loans, so there is a student finance loan that you can apply for university level. So you've got your tuition fee loan and your maintenance loan. I won't bog down too much into that area, but all students are entitled to obviously apply for those student loans if that's what they require for university. And obviously your maintenance loan is means tested, which means it's based upon your household income, what your parents earn. And then tuition fee loan is non-means tested, so all students are eligible for that tuition fee loan for university. If they haven't previously studied at higher education level for up to 4 years, they can get up to 4 years of funding. So if you do a 3-year course with us, that's great. So yeah, in terms of it just depends on how you make it work. I know we do have students that do part-time work whilst they're studying to increase funds. It's something that you sort of learn to balance. I think that's one of the good things about higher education, is that you learn to budget, sort of, especially if you live away from home, you learn to sort of be independent a little bit, which is really, really good. And some students benefit from that. For some students, it may not be for them. They might not want to live away from home at 18. But it was something that I sort of picked up on when I was 18 years of age. I was the first in my family to go into university. So obviously for my family, it was a big step, because obviously they thought, can he afford it? Can I do this? Can I do that? But I did manage quite well. I budgeted quite well. So these sort of things you do pick up on once you're doing your degree, and sort of sort of the grown-up sort of side of the things, you start to develop a higher education level as well. So yeah, back to sort of the question, is it affordable? It depends upon you sort of work it out yourself, you know, how much money you got at the end of each month, how much is it costing, and looking back on your student loan, do I need to take up any part-time work, or do I need to do this, that and the other? We do have financial support available, so there are scholarships and bursaries at UCFB. So you can apply for bursaries and scholarships as well. So some students will be entitled to scholarships and bursaries to help with maybe the cost of accommodation and day-to-day living, or for like courses they may fancy doing as part of their degree.
What do you need to get those scholarships and bursaries? What do you usually have to get to do those?
Yeah, so in terms of, I mean, the bursaries are based upon obviously household incomes in households. So there could be bursaries upon on that. We have scholarships that are based on academic ability and sporting ability scholarships. So depends on if they're playing at a certain level or they've achieved really good grades. There'll be reductions in accommodation costs or tuition costs, or even travel costs if they live locally. So things like that, or whether it's courses that they fancy doing, we'll put them through the courses and subsidise the course costs if it's additional things I want to do as part of their degree. So in sort of in terms of for this year, it still hasn't been announced yet. We normally announce them around March time in line with the student finance goes live. But I know that in terms of bursaries, it just depends upon household income. So if in a household they earn under 40,000 a year, a household, they might be entitled to a bursary of up to £1,500 a year, for example. So there are those sort of bursaries available, and the same with scholarships as well, depending on personal achievement in either sport or academic or other areas.
Thank you very much. So we've got one more question, sir.
Has anything changed since COVID in terms of university and work life?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for COVID, there was obviously that change straight away in terms of we had to go online from 2 years ago now, isn't it, since the first lockdown. We did go online for the final part of the year there, but what we did do was from the September of that year in 2020, we did we were the lucky few institutions that continued to offer face-to-face teaching up all the way until December of 2020, before the third lockdown. So we were still able to do higher ed, face-to-face delivery at our sites, which was great because we kept cases low. So in terms of the government and obviously regulations, we stuck to those really well. And as a result, we didn't have many go off with COVID and stuff like that. I think definitely with the third lockdown, we adapted again. We went online, but at every opportunity we could, we went straight back to face-to-face teaching because of we saw the importance of that for development. Our tutors did as well. So what we tried to do throughout is make sure that we're open, we're available, whether it be online or face-to-face, and students had that access. And now we're back into the second semester this week. We're operating full steam ahead, on site, on campus, delivering it the way we used to prior to the pandemic. Currently, based upon the regulations that are set out guidance at the moment.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's all the questions we had from Seth. Is there any other questions someone's thought about since we've done this talk? We're all good. So that means we're all good. So thank you very much for that. That was really insightful. Got a lot of notes I've taken down to pass on. And yeah, thank you for your time. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.